Right. Hang on. Save. Okay, and jump. Random fact, Rai is Japanese for, I think it's either lightning or thunder. Boom. Monies. The atmosphere here is a toxic mix of ammonia, sulfur, and methane. Although breathable by humans, if necessary. No, it's not! The locals use masks to reduce the risk of chronic respiratory problems. Hang on. Hang the fudge on. Hang on. Right, so there's oh. I take it back. But still. Like, you can't use silicon for organs. So you can't really expect to use sulfur to breathe. Well, I mean, you can use silicon for organs, actually. But, like, silicon dioxide is sand. Carbon dioxide is, like, air. Well, part of air. Small part. Toxic. But carbon dioxide works the same way oxygen does. Silicon dioxide does not work the same way oxygen does. Like, CO2 is only different from oxygen because it's got that carbon, which makes it a greenhouse gas. So, even so, life expectancy here is short, but that is partly because the two best paying industries are oil drilling and mining for radioactive elements. Okay. Ooh, tourists. Okay, because this is space travel and there's a thing called flood, I've just got, like, the Doctor Who Mars episode in my head. Not the Ice Warriors episodes, the one called The Flood. You know, with the virus that does stuff to you. Like, that's totally not medically feasible, but... Okay, yeah, I can't do anything else. Okay, spaceport. The spaceport is a long landing strip paved in asphalt, with warehouses on either side of it constructed from stone and mortar. Inside are stacked lead-lined crates of radioactive materials for sale. Unlike many dirt belt worlds, you see few curious children watching the ships land or playing among the buildings. This is not the sort of world where many people choose to put down roots and build a family. That's sad, that really is. Really plucks the old heartstrings, doesn't it? I think I just got attacked. Like, badly. Oh yeah, the blue thing must be my shield. So I got attacked. But whoever did the attacking failed. Shiva is a dead and frozen world. The only settlement is a small refueling station that services cargo fleets on their way to Earth. Precipitation is rare here, but sometimes the wind whips up snow and ice from the surface into something akin to a desert sandstorm. And even on days when the wind dies down, the air sparkles with tiny floating ice crystals. Most people who come here for work only stay for a few months or half a year, just long enough for the sense of adventure to die away. Alright, can't take any dwarfs. Oh, plastic. Alright, spaceport. The spaceport is protected from the wind and blowing snow by a perimeter wall about 50 meters tall. Aside from running the fueling station, one of the few jobs for the workers here is to operate the bulldozers that push away the snowdrifts and keep the station from being buried beneath them. Although the air is breathable, ships that land here connect directly to docking tubes to protect their crews from the icy air. There are no children here and almost no women. Most of the workers are men in their early 20s. No one makes an effort to greet you. Well, I wouldn't expect so. I mean, they're all depressed and cold. Okay. This should let me jump. Yep. Merach. Didn't quite pronounce that right. Merach. There we go. I'm not pronouncing the first half of it right at all. But you know what? Oh, right, I'm not doing face cam, so I can't do that. This is my IDGAF face. You wish the mining family the best of luck on Placer and collect your payment of 42,500 credits. Sweet. Placer is uninhabited aside from one small mining outpost. The atmosphere contains uncomfortable levels of ammonia and sulfur dioxide, and although brief exposure is not considered a health threat, those who live here must wear breathing gear when they leave their pressurized homes and mine shafts. Several scientific experiments over the last few centuries have sought to introduce microorganisms that would break down the harmful chemicals and transform the atmosphere to make it safe for human beings to breathe, but none have been successful. Well, yeah, I mean, the basis of most terraforming on worlds with, like, lots of CO2 in the air is just dump a bunch of cyanobacteria. That's the basic idea behind it. Like, dump water, dump cyanobacteria, let magic happen. It takes forever, but it works. And not much profit. Sell those. Buy those. Any jobs? New Portland. Let's see, 38,000. 32,000. Oh, I know what I'm doing. I'm gradually losing my money, but I'm making a good deal of more money, so. Eons ago, Silver was a lush, tropical world. It is now mostly desert, but large oil deposits remain below the surface. The petrochemicals mined here are refined to produce plastics, fuel for terrestrial vehicles, and some components of medical ointments and antibiotics. The deserts are mostly hot in daylight and surprisingly cool at night, and as a result, most settlers live in houses sunk into the ground in regions where there is enough plant cover to keep the dunes from shifting in the wind and slowly burying their dwellings. Oh right, I've got no free space. Okay, spaceport. The spaceport is near an oasis. Cactus-like plants and a few palm trees stand as tall as radio towers on the outskirts. The landing pads are made of concrete, rising several meters above the ground to protect both against the encroaching sand and against the flash floods that come in the rare times when it rains here. Under the clear sky and with white sand in all directions, the sunlight is painfully bright, and you've been warned to avoid prolonged exposure to it. Yeah, that's pretty much true with all sunlight. It hurts to look at, and it's bad for you when you stay in it for too long. Like, as a Seattleite, that's my biased opinion. Like, to be perfectly honest. Time to land on Oblivion, that terrible, desolate radiation mine. Woo, monies. I think I should probably pay off my mortgage first. Crap. Oh, I'm disabled. Yes, please help. Okay. So I don't know how to fire my cannon. Oh look, I'm home. Today, throughout human space, is Remembrance Day, the anniversary of the beginning of the Alpha Wars more than 5 centuries ago. The Alphas were genetically engineered soldiers with superhuman agility and intelligence, and a complete lack of compassion or empathy. At the height of the war, dozens of planets had been enslaved by the Alphas. Remembrance Day commemorates the beginning of the war rather than its end, as a perpetual reminder that the war is not over. Although the Alphas were defeated, some of them escaped and remained in hiding, and they and their offspring are presumed to still be present in the galaxy today. Since the Alpha War, genetic resequencing technology has been tightly controlled. Because the Alphas were the project of experimental genetic manipulation rather than natural evolution, it is believed that their genes are less robust than true human beings, and they are almost unable to have viable offspring without access to special technology. Therefore, most Alpha enclaves that have been discovered since the war have had very small populations, no more than a few dozen. In these days, when the Navy ensures peace throughout much of the galaxy, on many worlds the Alphas are treated as nothing more than a bogeyman story to frighten children. Because the most striking physical feature of the Alphas was their photosynthetic skin. What? That would be awesome! On some worlds, kids even run around wearing green face paint on Remembrance Day trying to frighten people. But on other worlds, especially the fringes of space where the Navy seldom patrols, the Alphas are still spoken of with fear. The Navy should patrol the edges, not the interior! New Britain, New Washington, 17,000, 24,500, 2,500, 18,000, 15,000. Is that a not friendly? No, friendlies. Okay. Jump. Oh, enemy. New Tibet is a world of jagged mountains and deeply shadowed valleys. Although it has been inhabited for centuries, in many places the terrain is so rugged that roads cannot be built, leaving several of the smaller towns almost completely isolated. Taking advantage of this isolation, several orders of Buddhist monks have built monasteries here. In the lowlands, large farms support sprawling cities full of factories, a striking contrast to the simplicity and isolation of the mountain villages. Alright, job board, don't have any space. Spaceport. The spaceport is in a hill region just outside the largest city, with a view of valley full of farms that stretch for miles and miles down to the ocean. The port is much less modern than the city nearby. It was built by the early settlers and has not been significantly updated since then, because the focus has been on improving life for the locals, not for the occasional visitors. How do I fire? Is that it? Is that it? How to fire? Is it E, A, tap? Yes! I figured it out! I figured out how to shoot. Should have already known that. But it's nice to know. Now I can actually defend myself. Crap, that is a lot of asteroids. All right. And land on flood. Let's read the description of this interesting place. Good. 28 grand. The scenic fjords and rugged mountains make Flood a popular tourist destination. Nearly all the land in the planet's temperate zone is covered in mountains, making traditional agriculture difficult. The locals survive mostly by raising sheep and goats, plus a few native species, and grow fruit and vegetables in small terrace gardens tended by hand rather than tractor. Most of the population is employed in the tourist industry, running inns for the visitors to their quaint mountainside villages, or making handcrafts for sale as gifts. 16,000, 4,500, 13,000, 23,000, 22,000, 35,000. Whoa! Accept mission. I forgot to read the spaceport description. Spaceport. You've never seen this many shops in a single spaceport. Hand-glazed pottery, wooden furniture, dolls, sweaters, scarves, paintings. The variety is overwhelming. Crowds of tourists bustle around from shop to shop, making it very difficult for you to get through. The spaceport is built on a mountainside, apparently designed to look like a village, except that in place of terrace gardens or landing pads, placed haphazardly to look more natural, and the buildings are much larger than you imagine the huts up in the villages. The cement tiles covering the roofs have been molded and colored to look like wood shingles, and although some of the larger buildings must have steel structures underneath, they have been made to look as if they are held up only by wooden beams. So basically, it's a total tourist trap. Got it. And land. Right. Oh, right, I don't have any... Depart. Yeah, no, I can't do anything, pal. Sorry. That's way out of my friggin' league.